to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Cardinal and Mr. Frieda will not be with us this evening. They are excused from the meeting. Any public participation at this time? Since there's no public, I figured there wasn't, but I'd call for it anyway. Okay, new business. Let's talk about the Farmington School District Construction and Renovation Capital Reserve Fund, if we would.
Yes.
And why we have it on the agenda.
Yes, absolutely. So June 17th, we came and informed the board that back in the last round of articles that were approved, or warrant articles, there was a warrant article to take $55,000 out of the Farmington School District Building Grounds CRF 93 to do some repairs at Henry Wilson Memorial School on the roof. However, that account was overexpended due to some warrant articles that had been approved previously and money had been removed from them. Therefore, we had a bill of $27,000 for roof work at Henry Wilson, but in CRF 93, there was only $1,400 left. This board had made a commitment to the town and to the taxpayers that we weren't going to make an attempt to take any more money away from what might be tax relief or money that would offset the tax rate later on. Therefore, we didn't want to encumber any unexpended fund balance. Nevertheless, we still have the $27,000 of invoices that we've incurred in terms of doing the renovations. So that led us to an investigation of what other capital reserve funds are there that we could tap that have a description that permits us to do so, so that we can recoup those funds and not impact the taxpayers in any way. So that led us to look at the capital reserve funds that we do have in place. We want to go and take $27,000 from the Farmington School District Construction Renovation CRF, which was established in 1984. Jana did a ton of work to make sure, because there have been different names attached to this particular CRF 84. So we've done a history, Jana's done a history, and this is a great publicity for the use of your public library. She spent a good deal of time there trying to capture the information that she needed in order to get this narrative put together. So Article 5 in the 1984 report, which we have a copy, shows that the Capital Reserve Fund, in accordance with RSA 35, was set to be established with the identification as a capital reserve fund with the purpose of future renovations to Farmington School District athletic facilities and/or grounds. And the funds were identified as a capital reserve fund, renovations for athletic facilities and/or grounds. So that's what it was called originally in 1984. And this is from the list of the warrant articles that were in the 1984 town report. So that's where we see it the first time. In 2000, the annual report shows a date of creation of 11/5/1984, for a CRF that was then called FSD New Facility, purpose being the high school. And so when we look at the list of trustees, this is from the Town of Farmington 2000 annual report, and then highlighted in here, and this is also in the board packet if you want to take a look at it. Highlighted in here, we have that 11/5/84 FSD New Facility CRF, and the building fund was indicated for the high school. So this was the new fund was established then. 2001, the annual report, Article 5, asked the voters to change the purpose of the existing new school facilities capital reserve fund to the capital improvements and renovations of buildings and grounds. And so that was in the annual report from 2001. And that we find in Article 5, which was also put in as part of our board packet for tonight, which is in your packet as well. The next time we see a reference to this is in 2001. And, yep, and then 2019. There's an annual report, Article 5, asks the voters to change the purpose of the existing new school facilities capital reserve fund to capital improvements and renovations of buildings and grounds. So now we have a new name attached to it, still CRF 84. but it's got a new name and now a new purpose, to expand it to be used on the grounds and buildings throughout the school district. In 2019, right, getting a little more recent, Article 8 asked to appoint the Farmington School Board as agents to expend from the Farmington School District FSD Construction and Renovation CRF that was previously established in 1984. Right, so that was most recently on the article. The article was approved by the Farmington voters. So we have that CRF that we can draw funds from. So now the next question became, and we did run this by Barbara Lohman and Manny Krasnick as well. He received all the information that I've just kind of picked up and kind of shown to everybody. Based on RSA, expenditures from capital reserve funds are governed by RSA 35:15, and the statute does not make mention of a public hearing. So therefore, a public hearing is not required. We have had a public hearing to expend from the Farmington School District Special Education Trust Fund, because that is not a CRF. So we do have to have a public hearing for that. A trust fund does require a public hearing as indicated in RSA 198:20-C2. So that's why we've seen some public hearings. So at this time, we have a CRF that we can pull this $27,000 from without an impact to the taxpayers in terms of trying to encumber unexpended fund balances at this point. So what we're looking to the school board to do is to have a vote in public, giving us the permission to go forward and recoup $27,000 for the repairs to Henry Wilson Memorial School, Roof A and A1.
Okay. And just so the board's aware, we did seek legal, well, you did say that.
Yes, we did,
We did
yep.
seek a legal opinion and heard back from them on this as well. And Mr. Krasner was involved as well, so.
Yep. You received all the copies that our lawyer received.
Is the actual amount 27,000? It's got to be
Yes.
even?
Exactly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wound up spending 48,000 of the 55 the town had originally estimated that we would need. So both of the roofing projects actually came in significantly under what we'd asked the taxpayers for. So there will be some money that we had put into the budget, that the high school roof, we had put in $550,000. We're going to be returning almost 300,000 of that because it came in under budget. So we were prudent with the way we did the repairs, we got them done the way we needed to, so we didn't actually need all of that draw.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to remove the money from FSD Construction and Renovation CRF in the amount of $27,000 for discussion.
A motion?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. McElhenney. Discussion.
What's the balance in,
As of tonight,
yes,
it is $159,364.31. So we would be taking the $27,000 from that.
thank you. That's all I have for
Any
discussion.
other discussion?
Thank you for your work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you.
and this was
Research.
like weekend work and stuff, and really, I mean, having had the conversation with these two ladies last week, it was a late night for them and a lot of work, and you probably have a job in a law firm there if you want it. I'm impressed with the research skills. Have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
The next thing, and I apologize to add something to your plate, we had a conversation about issues related to needing to have some office space created because of a need for a special education student. So, part of what we're coming to you for at this point is, we've consulted with an architect. We haven't spent any money. He's come out, he's looked at the project. The issue is the office where Larry Gordon is right now has a bathroom. This particular student needs access to a bathroom within the same location where he would be provided instruction. In order to create a space for Larry, it would involve putting a wall up in one of the special education offices and creating some soundproofing and doing that work. We are asking if you would permit us to begin the process of having this architect come out and look at, do one more take in terms of looking at the feasibility of it, in terms of how much money might have to be spent to actually make this work. Is it feasible? In terms of his consulting costs, he's put a figure out of $6,290. We simply just want to be given the permission for him to come back out and take a closer look in terms of the vents, in terms of electricity, in terms of the lighting, to determine, is this feasible enough to move forward?
Have we investigated any spots within our
We have.
current buildings? And
We
there's
have.
There's
Yeah.
not a suitable space?
Now, the student will be trained.
Not for the student, but
No.
for Larry?
We have looked at other buildings. I mean, part of it is we've got the expansion of technology, so that's got 2 more individuals who are going to be joining it, so that space that might be accessible is taken up. We have community partners, which is spending more time in the schools at Valley View, at Henry Wilson, and also at the high school. So they're already still struggling for space. We have a student assistance program guidance counselor who actually is in the high-set building right now, so we're keeping that person out. So in terms of another office space, we've not been able to identify one. Up here at the high school, they're sharing that counseling space, which is that small office up here. So there's not a place that we could put him there. So.
Explain to me where the facilities manager office is now. I don't know.
So when you come into Henry Wilson Memorial School, you have the nurse's office, and you have the student support room that's a little further down. So if you're looking at the nurse's office, it's the other one right to the left-hand side.
So it would have been where Mrs. Kimbrough was?
At one point, yeah, yep.
So it's a middle school student need.
Correct. Yep. And in addition, we still need to address House Bill 1612 in terms of the storage of documents. And that's the other reason he was coming out to look in terms of creating a space in the multipurpose room at Henry Wilson where we can take all of our personnel files and be able to store them under lock and key, which at this point they are not.
So this room that Mr. Gordon's in now would become a self-contained room?
It would become a room for specifically one student, but there would be other students accessing it well. But the student who needs to spend more time there requires access to a bathroom that's within the room. So it wouldn't be just him. There would be a small population of students in and out, but primarily for the
So it's not I don't know how much I can ask of this.
right. You can ask, and I can tell you. I can't tell you.
Yeah, but
No, it's not so
I
much
get-
this, it's because of being in public session. I don't need to know any specifics except for, well, I do a little bit. I mean, I want to know a little bit about, I can't ask
all right,
the
well,
questions I need to ask.
let's table it until the end of the meeting after we come out of non-public.
I mean, it's certainly something we can circle back to. I just wanted to make the board aware that in terms of, needing to build a facility to be able to address this House bill, this also gave us an opportunity to address this space issue in terms of being able to free up that room and have a space for Larry. We did investigate this building and the other building.
Space issues are a touchy subject with me, and I'll tell you why. Because we were told like 2 or 3 years ago that we had no space, yet our student population is at a low here,
it is.
probably at an all-time low for quite a while. And when I went through the buildings as part of the Buildings and Grounds Committee, I mean, we looked at every crevice, and that's when we were told there was no room for the SAU to move back to campus. And clearly, that wasn't the case, because we're back on campus.
Yeah.
So I just, I have some very logistical questions and some specific questions that I'd like to ask.
Okay.
So if we can
Yeah. I'll
circle
motion
back
table.
around. Motion by Mrs. Moore to table, second by Ms. Meckel. Any all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're on policies.
Yes, we do have DFA. Yeah, you did a first read on this, I think, back June 3rd.
DFA or D?
Yes, so
DFA.
this
Okay.
is something that our financial auditors, not the state auditors, our financial auditors have asked that we adopt. DFA, when I first presented it to the board, there were 2 items up on the New Hampshire School Boards Association. There was DFA, and then there's a DFA-R. And I had put both of them in the packet, and I believe it was Mr. Frieda had some questions on DFAR. So I did do that research. I actually reached out to, I forget the gentleman's last name. He is the attorney, his name is William. He's the attorney for New Hampshire School Boards Association. And I asked him what eventuality would require the use of that DFAR. Because our banker, Keith Pike, had he had looked at it as well. I had asked his opinion, and he had said, it's kind of an archaic, it dates back to when school districts or municipalities used to offer collateralization of certain things, and that's really not how things do work now with banking accounts, because they do a lot of zero balance accounts and they move things over, and investments are much more fluid than they ever were. So I had gone back to Will at New Hampshire School Boards, and he had basically offered the opinion that they had put that up onto the site. It's an optional administrative document that a district could use as a model federal government of what collateralization is. He indicated that DFA by itself is adequate for what we needed for policy. That was just that DFAR was a sample that a district could adopt to, should they require that kind of collateralization. Per my conversation with our banker, we don't need that particular vehicle at this time.
Okay.
So the adoption of DFA would satisfy the requirement of our auditors, and even without the addendum.
A motion to accept as a final read.
Motion by Mrs. Moran for
Second.
DFA as a final read, second by Ms. Michael. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.
Before we go out of new business, did want to mention that it has been confirmed for the district that we'll receive $36,000 in grant funding for fresh fruits and vegetables, which is a great opportunity it's at Valley View and Henry Wilson Memorial School, so nice opportunity for kids to have healthy snacks during the course of the day. And we've just received word, Jana's filling me in on these, equipment grant regarding replacement of the freezer, the walk-in freezer at Henry Wilson Memorial School. So we'll be we'll be applying for that rapidly.
There's no guarantee, but I
Right.
think that based on the criteria, I think we have a pretty good chance at getting it. And it would be a full replacement of both the walk-in and the side-by-side freezer, so the two units together. It would include, if we were awarded it, it would include demolition, it would include site work, it would include delivery, and it would include obviously the unit and installation. So it would be a pretty significant award, I think. And we've already, I knew it was coming. They released it yesterday, but before it was released, Larry and I and our food service director had worked together. We've already gotten 3 vendors out to give us quotes. We have those ready to go. All I need is my Fund 40 food service balance as of June 30th, and I am ready to submit the application on behalf of the district. So I'm hoping we'll be at the front of the line. We won't know until September, but hey, it's worth a shot.
Right?
Appreciate the
Yeah,
input on
thank
that.
you.
That's great.
Okay.
That would be it.
Yeah, a brief public agenda tonight as we have some non-public things to address. Anything? No? If I may, though, I meant to do this last time, and we're kind of, we've appointed a new treasurer and a deputy treasurer, and June 30th is the end of the fiscal year, and of course, Mrs. Barron's service to our district will end as treasurer, but I'd like to thank her publicly for her service to the Farmington School District. Mrs. Barron's done a lot of different things in town, and this is just another thing on the resume that she's done for us and put a lot of effort into it. So thank you, Mary, if you're watching and someone could pass it along to her. We appreciate your service. Can we talk about next meeting?
Yes, yes.
I'm unavailable on July 1, which would be our normal meeting. But I'm available every other. It's just that I'm not available. So I don't know if you folks want to do a meeting, I just won't be able to attend, or if you want to schedule our regular meetings. I mean, we certainly, we're doing a significant amount of hiring, and we may have to meet at other times, but our regular monthly meetings, I was kind of hoping we could do the 8th and the 22nd. Is that okay? Yeah.
Does that work for you?
That works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I had a vacation day on the 8th, but I can come in the evening.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion to go in. So our next meeting will be Monday, July 8th, right here at 6:30. Thank you to those of you joining us from home. I'll call for public participation. There's nobody in the crowd tonight, and folks probably can't see it at home, but there'll be no public participation because there's no one here. And we need the student issue first still?
Yes, sir.
I need a motion to go into non-public session 1, RSA 91A:3, 2, C, and J for student issue.
So
So moved by Mrs. McElhenney, second by Mrs. Moran. All those in favor by roll? Aye. Good night, folks.